The house was too quiet. Not peaceful, just silent in a way that made the walls feel closer. Elaine had lived in this home for over 40 years, and yet lately it felt like someone else's. Her late husband Richard had built the front porch with his own hands, and now the wood was fading, soft at the corners, as if time itself was peeling it away. She hadn't repainted it in years. Elaine was 73. Her children had moved to other states, Rhode Island, Colorado, Texas. Phone calls were brief and always filled with a kind of anxious efficiency. "How are you, Mom?" they'd ask. "Do you need anything?" As if she'd know how to answer that honestly. What she needed, no one could mail or order online. She needed to be seen again. Not out of pity. Not because she had once been a mother or a wife. Just seen for who she still was. The mornings were the hardest. She would pour her coffee and sit by the window, looking out at the garden she no longer planted. The rose bushes Richard had loved had withered years ago, and she hadn't had the heart to replace them. Some days she would think about going into town, maybe browsing the antique shop or getting a sandwich at the diner, but the idea of dressing up, of putting on her outside face, felt heavier than her old winter coats. She had once been daring. She remembered that version of herself vividly, the way she would wear red lipstick just to feel bold, how she used to dance barefoot on the patio with music loud enough to make the neighbors raise eyebrows. That woman hadn't left. She'd just gone somewhere quiet inside, waiting. One rainy afternoon, Elaine found herself digging through the back of her closet. Her hand brushed against something smooth, silky, a dress she hadn't worn in decades. Deep plum off the shoulder. She didn't remember keeping it. Slipping it out of the hanger, she laughed. "Too much for a grocery run," she muttered. She tried it on anyway. The mirror surprised her. Her body had softened, folded in places that once were taut. But there she was, Elaine. Still here. Still beautiful in a way that age had only deepened. Her collarbone still curved gracefully. Her skin carried stories now. The kind of stories that made a woman interesting, not invisible. It wasn't vanity. It was reclamation. She sat by her vanity, pulled open the drawer, and found her old lipstick. Yes, still red. Applied with a steady hand. She hadn't done this in so long. Felt like greeting an old friend. She let her silver hair down from its bun and ran her fingers through it. There she was. Later that week, she went to the community art center. Not to look, this time to sign up for the watercolor class. The woman behind the counter smiled. "Welcome. Are you new here?" "No," Elaine replied. "But I think I've just come back." Each Wednesday she walked to class, sketchpad under her arm. The others were friendly. No one asked too many questions. She painted roses. At first just outlines. Then color returned to them, petal by petal. One week she brought cookies. Another week she shared her favorite brush techniques. People noticed her now, not because she was elderly or fragile, but because she glowed with the quiet fire of someone rediscovering herself. One afternoon as she walked home, rain began to fall. Not a heavy rain, just the kind that wraps everything in silver light. She didn't run. She didn't hide her sketchbook under her coat. She simply kept walking, chin lifted. She felt alive. At home, she stood in front of the mirror again. The dress still hung behind the closet door, but she didn't need it that day. Her reflection was enough. Elaine smiled. That evening her daughter called. They talked about everything and nothing. But at the end her daughter said, "You sound different lately, Mom." "I am," Elaine said softly. "I remembered I'm still here." The silence in the house was no longer a cage. It was space. Room to paint, to hum to herself, to daydream again. Room to feel everything deeply, including the loneliness but also the pride. Because she had not given up. She had paused. And now she was pressing play again. And no one, not age or time or loss, could take that from her.